Hola a todos y feliz lunes. Here are some notes that I would like to share with you guys as you prepare for tomorrow's exam on Lección 3. One of the biggest things that we're talking about is family in this unit, and you're describing your older siblings or your younger relatives and whatnot. So you have mayor and menor. Now, mayor, meaning older, has been often confused with mejor, which is better, and then menor is younger. So keep an eye on that. Now, when we're in this unit, we're describing a lot of people, and we have descriptive adjectives and possessive adjectives, and those are very different, and we're still kind of mixing them up. So I've included page numbers for your e-textbook. If you've never used it, let me show you real quick. When you go to your Vista, when you go to content, just click on e-companion, and it will show you the page numbers and everything. This is the actual textbook if you would have purchased it on paper. This is exactly what our friends in the face-to-face classes look like when they look at the particular textbook. So please, if you've not looked into this, make sure that you do, so that all these page numbers make sense and you can have some extra clarifications, practice, anything that you need. So, talking about possessive adjectives, just cliff notes, are used to qualify people, things, places. They express the ownership or the possession of the people, the thing, or the place. Okay? So they have to agree with the number with respect to the thing that is being possessed. So, for example, it's my dad, but I only have one dad. So it's mi papá. Now, we all bought computers. So we bought multiple computers. Excuse me. Compramos nuestras computadoras. It's matching the fact that it's multiple computers. And then keep an eye on nuestras and vuestras also needing to match in gender. So that's the possessive adjectives. Now then we have descriptive adjectives, which are used to describe the people, things, and places, and they always use the verb ser. They always have to agree in gender and number with the thing that they used to describe. So if we're describing him and we say él es feo, it matches that he's masculine and singular. Ella es alta, matching her being just a singular person. But now if we said nosotros somos trabajadores, trabajadores matches our plural subject for the group of us. Pardon me. Irregular descriptive adjectives on page 90. We've kind of been confusing these. When we use the word bien, that's an emotion, and you use that with estar. When you say, oh, ¿cómo estás? Oh, estoy bien, I'm good. But if we want to describe someone as a good person, it's bueno o buena, buenos o buenas. And the same thing for mal, as in bad. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, I'm bad, I'm not feeling well, or whatever. But if someone is a bad person or a bad restaurant, malo, mala, malos, malas. Check out page 90. We've been using the adjective inteligente. When you're using it in a list, Spanish doesn't like the repetitive sounds in a list. So when you would say, oh, ella es bonita, amable y inteligente. Notice the y inteligente. So that's when you would choose to change the y to say and change it to the e. To say, oh, ella es bonita, amable e inteligente. And we've gotten rid of the repetitive sound of the letter E, I in English, in that statement. Excuse me. So this is a spelling change. Keep an eye on those. Numbers. Okay, numbers. They work as articles to allow us to describe the amount of things or of a particular item or whatever. So numbers with 1, when they precede the masculine singular items, you must drop the O. Go back to page 16 and 17 to keep an eye on those. Particularly the activity where there was a picture of a lady blowing candles on her 21st birthday cake. Ella tiene 21 años. Okay? Singular words that represent plural groups, we're using 2 particular ones, familia and gente. The word familia is singular, even though it reflects the idea of a group of people. And gente, people, a group, is also singular. So these are both singular and feminine. Make sure that when you're describing your family, you're using singular subject for your verbs and the singular feminine descriptive and possessive adjectives. Formal versus informal. We talked about this in our first unit, that Spanish has the option of having a formal conversation that we do with strangers, with elders, with in a professional scenario or whatnot, and informal ones that we do with friends, family. So when you pick a scenario, just pick one and stick with it. The whole conversation should be formal, or the whole conversation should be informal. On our Avancemos de Flash Cultura, there was an activity where Andy's introducing us to his girlfriend, and we have to ask her 5 different questions. And we were going back and forth between the questions that we were asking her. Decide what kind of relationship you have with Andy and with this new girlfriend. And if it's formal, ask her all formal questions. And if it's an informal one, make sure that the conversation is all informal. Don't do something like this when you have ¿Cómo te llamas? Being an informal approach, and then you say, oh, ¿cuántos años tiene? You change it into the usted form to make it formal. So formal or informal, it doesn't really matter at this particular point in an activity, but know that when you pick one, just stick to one. Some spelling troubles that I'm still noticing are después, to express that something is after something or whatever, has an accent over the E. También, to say also, again, accent over the E. Ella represents she, and él represents he. Ello is not a word that is a subject pronoun. This doesn't exist as a subject pronoun, so keep an eye on that. To express negative ideas, things that you don't want to do, that you don't don't like. The no, the participle no, is placed before the verb. So you can say things like, no tiene hambre, she's not hungry. No es alto, he's not tall. Or no come las papas fritas, they don't eat the French fries. Again, before the verb is where you would place this. Tener que and deber are some expressions that we were recently introduced to really elaborate a little bit on what we can talk to each other. Tener que is expressing to have to do something. And as you notice, you have the verb tener that represents whoever the subject of the idea is, always followed by the participle que, and the second verb is left in the infinitive. So when we say something like, yo tengo que comer a las 5, notice that tengo represents that it's me who has to do this, and then the que, and then comer in its infinitive form of er verb, it stays like that. I have to eat at 5. Deber, things that you are obligated to do. Deber, and then the second verb attached to it needs to stay in the infinitive. So when we say things like debemos hacer la tarea, we are obligated to do the homework. Notice hacer, it's in an er form of in its infinitive. Or when we say deben estudiar para el examen, they are obligated to study for the exam. Notice that estudiar, that second verb, is in the infinitive in its ar form. So these are 2 really, really great expressions that allow us to give more details on the things that people have to do or are obligated to do. Keep an eye on how you use that second verb in the infinitive. Ser and estar. Profesora, how are we supposed to figure out when to use each? We're going to keep practicing that, but let me give you some pointers and see if it helps you better understand it. So the verb ser, we use it for a ton of stuff. So think about of the acronym DOCTOR. Descriptions, occupation, characteristics, time, origin, and relationships. Descriptions and characteristics, those physical things that we've been talking about. Occupation, you're a student, a professor, a whatever it is that you do. Time, when we learn to express time, is always with the verb ser. Origin, where are you from? And relationships, we just did in this chapter, where you can tell that someone is somebody's mom or somebody is somebody's cousin. So those are those relationships. Now I understand that these 6 different categories can be a lot for you to remember, so why don't just remember when we use estar. So estar is a little bit simpler because all you do is for how you feel and where you are, always use the verb estar. Anytime that you're expressing emotions and anytime that you're expressing the location, you're going to use the verb estar, and everything else is going to be for ser. So if these work for you, I'd love to see you use them a little bit more. If not, email me. We can chat about other options. All right, wrapping this up, short and sweet, important dates. Tomorrow is our test. Make sure that it's due by 11:59 p.m. There is no late credit for this. Let's recap. Your latest Let's Recap is due Wednesday, October 24th. No late credit for this assignment as well. And last but not least, I posted our composition 1. It's due October 29th. Make sure that you work on it a little bit at a time and go back and edit yourselves before submitting it. Definitely don't recommend doing it on the 28th because it's going to be lacking a lot of edit, and your ideas are not going to be very well thought out. Last but not least, when you're using the internet, things like a translator are not something that you should use to put in your entire idea. It's not going to know the grammar that you're supposed to, and I can tell when your ideas are a little bit more advanced than what we've been covering in the last 3 units. So keep your ideas simple and straight to the point, and definitely take use the tools. So for example, just use it as a dictionary where keep an eye on this bottom part. It gives you more of the things that you need to know. So if it's an adjective, notice that there's different ways of saying something like that. If it's interesting. Okay, there's adjectives, but you could have also used interestingly as an adverb. So definitely use these for the quick, easy resource, but don't put in your entire ideas in here. Keep your ideas simple, straight to the point. Use the vocab from our units. Use the grammar that we've used from our units. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. See me during office hours on Wednesday from 11:30 to 1 or by appointment. All right, have a great day and good luck tomorrow with your test.